metas. Welcome to today's Once Human crash course. I'm your friend H37, and today I'll be talking about Prism vs. Clash, the new PvP scenario coming with the version 1.2 update on September 26th. This scenario features team PvP that's even more intense and fast-paced than an Evolution's Call. Firstly, Prism vs. Clash has fewer phases, 4 to be precise, other than starting settlement phase. All other scenario phases have been shortened to 19 days. This will greatly reduce the preparation period, meaning you'll get a pure PvP combat experience from the very first day of the season. In the wilderness, multiple contest areas have been marked where you can engage in PvP either solo or alongside your friends. Furthermore, you won't drop any gear or resources if you're defeated in Prism vs. Clash, so you can go all out in PvP without worrying about losing important items. There's no doubt Prism vs. Clash will involve many ambushes and group fights, but there's more. You can also raid other players' territories. This game mode, which combines base building and PvP, is sure to make the faction war much more thrilling. In contest areas, combat is only one shot away. The fights between raiding and defending hives may break out any time. Call on your friends, prepare your best gear and items, and plan your raid strategy to crush your enemies and their bases all at once. You might be wondering what new challenges Prism vs. Clash has to offer. That's why I'm here. Let me tell you all about this new scenario. Now, how is the winning faction determined? Prism deviations are the key to victory in Prism vs. Clash. Fight over them in the wilderness and secure them to earn Prism energy for your faction. The faction with the most Prism energy by the end of the scenario wins. Now, you might be wondering, what in the world are Prism deviations? And how do they differ from regular deviations in existing scenarios? Prism deviations are special deviations with unique attributes that can be found throughout the world. Prism deviation provides a different amount of Prism energy depending on its rarity. Certain deviations, such as Electric Eel and the Digby Boy, will be converted into Prism deviations. 2 new Prism deviations will also be introduced in this scenario: Berserkosaurus Rex and the Radiant one, which are so rare that securing one will earn your faction a massive amount of Prism energy. But how am I supposed to find these Prism deviations, you ask? They can be obtained by fishing and gathering in contest areas or by participating in public crisis events. That's not all, though. You can also attack the opposing faction and seize their hard-earned Prism deviations for yourself and your faction. The next question is, how do you secure a Prism deviation after obtaining it? I've prepared a securement guide, so please note the following pointers. 1. You must be in a contest area to secure a Prism deviation. 2. Prism deviations take different amounts of time to secure, depending on their rarity. 3. If you teleport, enter a safe zone, are defeated by another player, or enter a dungeon while carrying a Prism deviation in your backpack, the Prism deviation will escape and return to the contest area. Prism deviations will also escape if held in a securement facility in your territory, and the facility is destroyed before securement is complete. Therefore, you should team up and defend Prism deviations while they are being secured. If you are confident enough, you can even collect multiple Prism deviations and secure them all at once. But you'll have to be careful. Carrying a Prism deviation will reveal your location to the opposing faction. And the more Prism deviations you have, the more exposed you'll be. Having been through the basic rules, You'll probably have noticed that your territory is extremely important in the fight for prism deviations. Defending prism deviations as they're being secured will take more than your own strength. It'll also take a strong territory. Having a well-built territory will increase your chances of withstanding enemy raids. You should aim to occupy strongholds in the wilderness with your hive or faction allies, or else build a huge fortress with robust defenses. I'm looking forward to seeing the creative territories you'll come up with. But I wonder if even the most seemingly perfect territory can truly be impregnable. I guess you'll have to find out for yourself. To help you adapt to Prism versus Clash quicker, the scenario has 3 major seasonal phases, namely Prism Descent, Clash at Blackfell, and The Last Stand. So, what are these phases exactly? The first phase, Prism Descent, lasts for 5 days. During this time, only 4 regions in the wilderness will be accessible: Mayfly Base, Safe Zone, Rosetta Base, Safe Zone, the Public Safe Zone, and Central Blackfell Contest Area. You can think of this phase as a warm-up period during which you can familiarize yourself with the rules of the faction war, as well as try out game modes like Public Crisis Events, Securement Silos, and Monoliths. The second phase, Clash at Blackfell, lasts for 7 days and represents the peak of the faction war. During this phase, the Western Blackfell Contest Area will become accessible, enlarging the theater of conflict. Public Crisis Events, Securement Silos, and Monoliths on hard mode will also become available. The third phase, The Last Stand, lasts for 7 days and will be decisive in determining the outcome of the faction war. Eastern Blackfell Contest Area and Pro Mode Dungeons will con available during this phase. Different incidents will also occur during each phase of the scenario. What kind of impact will they have on the battlefield? You'll have to find out for yourself. Now, I'm sure you'd like to know about what kind of rewards you'll be getting for your contributions to your faction during this season. Firstly, unlike Evolution's Call, there are no war bans in Prism versus Clash, so seasonal rewards are tied to your faction instead. If your faction accumulates the requisite amount of Prism energy, all members will receive Star Chromes as a reward. You can also complete individual season goals during each phase to earn rewards, including Legacy of Conflict loot crates, Star Chromes, and more. And if your faction wins, or if the scenario ends in a draw, you'll be getting 9 Legacy of Conflict loot crates. But don't worry if your faction loses. You'll still receive 6 of those coveted Legacy of Conflict loot crates. Individual players in each faction will be ranked based on their contribution during each phase, and will receive rewards according to their ranking. You'll also be able to share your personal rewards with other players. This means that, in addition to your personal rewards, you'll be able to share the rewards of one other player. That concludes this crash course on the Prism versus Clash scenario. See you on the battlefield on September 26th.